Hello, Tom. Greetings from Toronto, Canada. How are you today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Speaking of Canada, do you miss Calgary?
I do miss Calgary, actually. Yeah, we've kind of made a little second home in Calgary.
Well,
So I genuinely miss it.
yeah, I'm sure. I mean, having the opportunity to make a show like this listen, it's the home of the Stampede. We've got lots of cowboys and things there. What was that like for you when going back to the beginning when you started this journey playing Billy the Kid? How amazing was it to have that kind of those people with you to help you learn what you needed to know?
Yeah, I mean, before starting the show, I had no idea of the Western culture that was in Canada. To be honest, I was naive to it. I thought that that was pretty much exclusive to like the US and Mexico.
Yeah.
But then the minute we landed in Calgary, it was very clear to me that that culture is alive and well in Canada as well, especially in Alberta,
Yes.
of all places in Alberta. And it is a culture. It's a whole culture that is like, fathers and mothers pass it down to their kids, and their grandkids, and I've through the show become really good friends with people who live and breathe that culture. It is they
Yeah.
wake up every morning, they live that life authentically. And we have a lot of those people on the show as like wranglers, horse wranglers and trainers, and
Exactly.
some of them play characters in the show, some of them are stunt doubles and stunties, and they're extremely talented and extremely committed, and they throw themselves off horses in situations that I could never. So I think all of us are very grateful to be immersed in it all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure. I have to say, watching the show, I look at you, I watch you, and I go, I think you were born to play Billy the Kid. You just seem
Really?
so, honestly, you seem very relaxed and you just have really grasp on it. Was being a Western something you've always wanted to be, like maybe even as a kid?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm from the UK, so it wasn't something it's certainly not a culture that is alive and well in England, really, except for maybe some little pockets here and there. But
Yeah.
I'd always wanted to do it. I grew up watching westerns with my mum. I read western books as a kid, and I was fascinated by the culture. I just thought it was like such a cool, legendary world,
Right.
that wasn't that long ago. But I never thought I would be able to do it. Honestly, I never thought as an actor that I would get the chance because, you know,
Yeah,
kid from
sure.
England.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but when this came along and I read Michael Hurst's script, I was like blown away by, first of all, how vivid his writing is and how
Yeah.
rich the characters are. And then also just like I thought, well, if Michael Hurst, who is also from the north of England, can imagine this world and write it as if he was there, then I can step into it and act it as if I was there. And I just played Billy, how he was written on the page, which is
Yeah.
really cool.
Well,
And I
we'll
kind
take
of
a
fell in
little
love with
credit.
him.
I mean, it's a little bit more than just the writing, but
Oh,
yes, Michael
okay.
Hurst
Oh,
is,
thank you. I mean,
yeah,
there was a lot of hard work involved, but if it looks easy, then a lot of that is because the writing is good,
yeah.
and, and I'm able to fall in love with the character and show up, and like coming back for season two was just like genuinely meeting an old friend again,
Yeah,
um,
and
and
yeah, exactly. And
picking up
and
the
you
hat
know,
where I left it.
yeah, so now we're anticipating this part two. Obviously, there was a bit of a break because of the writers' strike and
Yeah,
everything. So we're back.
yeah,
So just give us a little bit of an update, like where this is going to pick up now. We're in the middle of the Lincoln County War. Billy is he's back in the saddle, no quote, no pun intended, but
yeah.
he's had a rough time of it. To just bring us up to speed a little bit, what fans can expect now going into the second part of season two.
Yeah, so I mean, season two, part one, we got to see Billy kind of meet Mr. Tunstall. He became kind of one of Mr. Tunstall's right-hand men. He was learning the ropes of ranching and kind of felt like he might have a chance at a peaceful life finally, which is all he's
Yeah.
ever wanted. Or at least a life free of violence and corruption.
Yeah,
I think he's someone who always wants a bit of excitement and adventure, but what he doesn't want is the violence and corruption,
for sure.
which seems to follow him everywhere he goes. And then season two, part one ends with obviously Tunstall meeting his untimely end, which devastates Billy. And part two, which we're about to release, is really Billy in the aftermath of Tunstall's death. And
Yeah.
Uh, with that, I think comes a feeling of wanting to avenge this man who kind of became his father. So it becomes a bit of a revenge story, but it also becomes a story about Billy, like whether or not he can fill his destiny as someone who is a leader and someone who leads by example,
Right.
even though he's being a little bit pulled in the wrong direction by his need for revenge for Tunstall's death.
Yeah, and it's so, I go back in the history of Billy the Kid and I go, man, he was so young. Like he was so young. He had so much
Yeah,
pressure on him. But when you look at the relationships he had and the people that kind of molded him, helped him become who he was, and gave him advice, as you say, with Tunstall, etc. Who in your life, in your relationships, maybe has helped you become the great actor that you are?
thank you. That's very nice. I suppose my dad was a big influence for me from a young age. I used to watch film and television with him, and that was kind of where my love for film came in. He was the one who
Yeah,
started showing me the classics and all that. I think I've had some very cool teachers along the way as well. People who have, committed their lives to teaching and especially teaching acting. And whether it was in school where I grew up or in drama school in New York,
yeah,
I feel like I came across occasionally the teacher who would just kind of like open your eyes and really inspire you to push yourself further.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm thankful to those people.
Yeah, it's amazing. Just to wrap it up, I mean, we've seen you in so many great things since we last talked. My God, the prequel for the Hunger Games, Gilded Age, which by the way is one of my favorite shows. I just love
Oh,
that
really?
show so much.
Oh,
Great to
nice.
see
I
you in
know
that.
it's so amazing.
Yes, I must have been a lot of fun.
Briefly in that, I popped up briefly, but yeah.
I even still, you were there. I saw you. But I
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
say, you're going to be the next we're going to see is discussion materials based on the memoir. How exciting was it to dive into something like that?
Yeah, that was fun. It was something I'd never done before. It was a bit of comedy, which is fun because I get
Yeah.
a lot of serious stuff. Everything I'm doing right now is extremely serious.
It's
And
good to lighten it
having
up sometimes.
it is good to lighten it up, and actually that was a real. I wasn't sure if comedy was something I really had in my bones. I'd always wanted to try it, but
Yeah.
this was a chance to kind of put my hand to it. And it's set in the world of like finance and zany,
Yeah.
finance bros. And that was something I didn't know much about either. So I got to I like to just do stuff that challenges me. If it's something that I've never done before,
Yeah.
it will be scary to me, and that probably means it's worth doing. So yeah, I was really happy to get to do some comedy, and I would like to do some more at some point.
Oh, I'm sure we will see more of you for sure, for sure. Well, this you've done so far, great, great job as Billy the Kid. I hope you get to keep that hat. I really like that hat. You look very cool in that
There's a
hat.
few of them out there, so I think whenever we eventually wrap up the show, I will hopefully get to take one home in my
You
suitcase. Yeah,
you definitely need to swipe one. Thank you so much for
yeah.
your time today. Always a pleasure to talk to you and have a great rest of your day, Tom.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Okay,
much for having me. Good to see
take
you.
care. Bye bye.
Bye.